I've always been grateful to be a beta. No heats, no ruts, no biological slavery to instincts that turn people into animals. I watched my Omega friends suffer through suppressants and my Alpha coworkers battle their territorial aggression. I was blissfully normal. Free. That freedom died on a Tuesday morning at Corner Brew Coffee. I was ordering my usual, medium roast, no sugar, when the door chimed. The barista's hand froze mid-pour. Every conversation stopped. I turned, annoyed by the disruption, and immediately understood why. The man in the doorway looked like he'd stepped out of a cologne advertisement. Sharp jawline, dark hair slightly tousled, eyes so intense they seemed to glow amber. An alpha, obviously. His expensive suit screamed power, but it was his scent that hit me, cedarwood and thunderstorms, rolling through the coffee shop like a physical force. Those burning eyes locked onto me. He moved with predatory grace, weaving between frozen customers until he stood inches away. I could feel heat radiating from him. His pupils dilated, nostrils flaring as he breathed deeply. "It's you," he whispered, voice rough with emotion. "My fated mate." I blinked. "Excuse me?" "Your scent." His hand reached toward my face, trembling. "I've searched for years. Vanilla and rain. It's exactly." "Whoa." I stepped back, coffee forgotten. "I'm a beta. We don't have fated mates. You've got the wrong person." His expression shifted from wonder to confusion. "That's impossible. The pole, the scent, everything about you calls to my alpha. You must be a beta," I repeated firmly. "Check my ID bracelet if you don't believe me." I thrust my wrist forward, showing the standard beta classification chip embedded under my skin. Every citizen got one at birth. He scanned it with his phone, frowning at the results. "It says beta, but that can't be right. What I'm feeling is a mistake." I grabbed my coffee and fled, heart hammering. The poor guy was clearly confused. Maybe he had a cold affecting his sense of smell. Alphas were so dramatic about the whole fated mate thing anyway. I put it out of my mind. 3 days later, I was at the grocery store, debating between pasta brands, when I smelled smoke and leather. My head snapped up. Another alpha, this one built like he bench-pressed cars for fun, stood at the end of the aisle. His eyes, steel gray, fixed on me with the same unnerving intensity. "No," I said immediately. "Absolutely not." He approached anyway, moving with surprising gentleness for someone so massive. "I don't understand what's happening," he said quietly. "I've never believed in fated mates. Thought it was romantic nonsense. But 3 days ago, I caught your scent in the street, and I haven't been able to focus on anything else. I tracked you here." My blood ran cold. "That's called stalking." "I know how it sounds." He ran a hand through his short-cropped hair, looking genuinely distressed. "I'm a bodyguard. I protect people. I don't chase them. But every instinct I have is screaming that you're mine to protect, to cherish, to... I'm a beta." The words came out sharper than intended. An elderly woman selecting tomatoes gave me a concerned look. I lowered my voice. "This is the second time this week. I don't know what's going on, but I'm not anyone's fated anything." I showed him my ID chip. Scanned it. Proved it. His confusion mirrored the first alphas exactly. "This doesn't make sense." I left my cart and practically ran from the store. Coincidence, I told myself. 2 delusional alphas didn't mean anything. The city had millions of people. Weird things happened. But my hands shook the entire drive home. I made it 4 whole days before the third one found me. I was at my office, reviewing quarterly reports in blessed silence, when my assistant knocked. "Someone here to see you. He insists it's urgent." "I don't have any appointments." The door opened before I could finish. This alpha was different, lean and elegant, with artist's hands and observant dark eyes. He wore paint-stained jeans and a confused expression that was becoming terrifyingly familiar. "I'm sorry to intrude," he began, voice cultured and careful. "But I've been painting you for 2 weeks." I stood up so fast my chair rolled backward. "What?" He pulled out his phone, scrolling through images. Canvas after canvas filled with a figure that was unmistakably me. Different poses, different settings, but always the same face. My face. I thought I was going mad, he continued. I'd wake up with your features burned into my mind. Your scent, jasmine and copper, haunting me. I finally saw you this morning at the crosswalk. I had to follow. Had to understand why my alpha won't shut up about someone I'd never met. Beta, I managed weekly. I'm a beta. I know. I had someone investigate you. He had the grace to look embarrassed. Which makes this impossible. Yet here I am, every instinct I possess insisting you're my fated mate. I sank back into my chair, mind reeling. 3 alphas. 3 separate, unconnected alphas, all claiming the same impossible thing. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't confusion. Something was fundamentally wrong. I need you all to leave me alone, I said, voice hollow. This isn't real. It can't be. But even as I said it, I felt it, that strange pull I'd been ignoring. The way my heart raced around them. How their scents seemed to wrap around me like welcome embraces despite my fear. The artist left his card. I threw it in the trash. That night I barely slept. I dreamed of amber eyes and cedarwood, steel gray and leather, artistic hands and jasmine. When I dragged myself to the pharmacy the next morning for sleeping pills, I froze in the doorway. 2 more alphas stood inside. One in a doctor's coat, refined and intellectual. Another in a motorcycle jacket, dangerous and wild. Both turned toward me simultaneously. Both inhaled deeply. Both whispered, fated mate. 5 alphas. My ordinary beta life didn't just shatter. It exploded into a million impossible pieces, and I had no idea how to put them back together. I couldn't leave my apartment. Not because I was afraid, but because they were all outside. Cedarwood Alpha, whose name I'd learned was Daniel, a tech CEO, had sent 17 flower arrangements. My living room looked like a funeral home. Bodyguard Alpha, Marcus, stationed himself across the street, for my protection. The artist, Eli, sketched me through my window until I closed all the blinds. The doctor, James, somehow got my medical records and left detailed nutrition plans under my door. And the wild one, Kai, revved his motorcycle at 3 a.m. like some deranged rooster. This was my life now. A nightmare wrapped in expensive cologne and alpha pheromones. This is insane, I told my best friend over video chat, huddled in my darkened bedroom. I'm a beta, Amira. This shouldn't be possible. Have you considered that maybe you're not? She munched popcorn, far too entertained by my suffering. Maybe your classification was wrong. The chip doesn't lie. It's biometric. But doubt gnawed at me. I scheduled an appointment with a specialist that afternoon. Getting past my alpha gauntlet required strategy. I waited until Marcus went to grab coffee, slipped out the back entrance, and made it 3 blocks before someone grabbed my wrist. Of course. His green eyes glittered with amusement under his messy black hair. Sneaking away, little beta? That's dangerous. Let go. I yanked my arm, but his grip, gentle despite his strength, held firm. Where are you going? I'll take you. His motorcycle gleamed at the curb, death on 2 wheels. I don't need. She needs a proper car with safety features, Daniel's smooth voice interrupted. A sleek black sedan pulled up, window rolling down to reveal his disapproving face. Not a death trap. My bike is perfectly safe, Kai growled. Statistics say. I'll walk. I shouted, breaking free. Both alphas started to follow until Marcus appeared, blocking their path with his considerable bulk. Give them space, he said quietly, but his tone brooked no argument. He glanced at me. I'll follow at a distance. For safety. At least he was reasonable. I speed-walked to the medical center, very aware of Marcus's shadow half a block back. Dr. Helen Park was a beta herself, which brought immense relief. She listened to my story without judgment, though her eyebrows climbed higher with each alpha I mentioned. 5. She typed rapidly. And your classification chip reads beta? Every time. She ran every test available. Blood work, pheromone analysis, genetic screening, hormonal panels. I sat in the sterile examination room for 3 hours, Anxiety eating me alive. If I wasn't a beta, my entire identity was a lie. If I was a beta, then something even stranger was happening. Dr. Park returned with a thick file and a bewildered expression. You're definitely a beta. Genetically, hormonally, pheromone-wise, textbook beta. No omega traits whatsoever. No genetic anomalies. You're as beta as I am. Relief and confusion warred in my chest. Then why? I have no idea. She sat heavily. This shouldn't be possible. Fated mate bonds require omega pheromones to trigger an alpha's mating instinct. You don't have them. Yet 5 alphas are experiencing legitimate bonding symptoms. I've never seen anything like this. I left with more questions than answers. Marcus fell into step beside me outside, silent and solid. I was too drained to protest. The results? He asked quietly. Beta. Completely, utterly beta. His jaw tightened, but he nodded. Doesn't change what I feel. It should, I said miserably. It should change everything. The next 2 weeks were chaos incarnate. Daniel tried to buy my company to be near me at work. My boss was baffled by the generous offer for our small marketing firm. Eli's paintings of me sold for thousands at a gallery show, which felt violating and flattering simultaneously. James, coincidentally, transferred to my regular clinic. Kai followed me everywhere on his motorcycle, self-appointed guard dog. Marcus actually moved into the apartment across from mine. They were everywhere, suffocating me with attention. The worst part? I was starting to feel it too. That pull. The way my heart jumped when Daniel smiled. How safe I felt with Marcus nearby. The butterflies when Eli looked at me like I was art incarnate. James's gentle concern warming something deep inside. Kai's wild energy calling to a part of me I'd suppressed. I was attracted to all of them, and it terrified me. Things came to a head at a charity gala my company was hosting. I'd hoped to avoid my alphas, but Daniel had donated a fortune to attend. Marcus worked security. Eli's paintings were being auctioned. James was there as a sponsor. And Kai crashed it in a borrowed tux that looked criminally good on him. They orbited me all night, a rotating guard of intensity. Other alphas kept their distance, sensing the territorial energy. I felt like prey surrounded by predators who couldn't decide whether to fight or share. Then Daniel asked me to dance. His hand on my waist felt right in a way that scared me. We swayed to classical music, his cedarwood scent enveloping me. I know this is overwhelming, he murmured, but I can't stay away. I've tried. You need to try harder. But I didn't pull away. Dance with me next, Kai cut in, practically shoving Daniel aside. His grip was possessive, movements wild and rhythmic. Forget these stuffed shirts. Come with me. I'll show you real freedom. She needs stability, James interrupted smoothly, extracting me for a waltz. Not reckless adventures. She needs beauty, Eli countered, stealing me mid-spin. Inspiration. Someone who sees her soul. She needs protection, Marcus rumbled, and suddenly I was in his arms, the others forced back by his sheer presence. Stop. I broke away, breathing hard. Every eye in the ballroom turned toward us. I'm not a prize you can fight over. I'm a person, and I want all of you to leave me alone. I fled to the balcony, gulping night air. But the peace lasted only seconds before a hand covered my mouth and something sharp pricked my neck. The world tilted. The last thing I saw before darkness claimed me was a woman's face. An Omega, eyes cold and calculating. Finally, she whispered. The rare one. You're coming with me. I woke to white walls and the smell of antiseptic. My head throbbed, neck stinging where the needle had pierced. Panic flooded through me as I tried to move. My wrists were strapped to a hospital bed. Ah, you're awake. The Omega from the balcony entered, clipboard in hand. She wore a lab coat, her blonde hair pulled into a severe bun. I'm Dr. Sophia Chen. Welcome to the Genesis Research Facility. You kidnapped me. My voice came out hoarse. I liberated you, she corrected coolly. From 5 alphas who would have torn you apart fighting over you. You should thank me. Let me go. Not until I understand what you are. She pulled up a chair, eyes gleaming with scientific fascination. You're not a beta, despite what your tests say. You're something much rarer. My blood ran cold. The tests confirmed. The tests confirmed your genetics are beta. But genetics aren't everything. She pulled up holographic displays showing complex molecular structures. Tell me, were you adopted? The question hit like a punch. How did you? I did my research after tracking your unusual case. 5 simultaneous fated mate bonds? Impossible. Unless. She leaned forward. Your adoption records were sealed. Heavily encrypted. Someone didn't want your origins traced. My mind reeled. I'd always known I was adopted. My parents had been loving but vague about my birth circumstances. They died in a car accident 5 years ago, taking any answers with them. What are you saying? I'm saying you're a catalyst. She spoke the word like a revelation. An evolutionary anomaly we thought was extinct. Your pheromone signature is beta, but your blood carries markers that trigger the fated mate response in alphas. Not just one, potentially any alpha exposed to you for extended periods. Horror washed over me. That's not real. Catalysts are mythology. So are fated mates, yet here we are. She stood, circling the bed like a predator. Catalysts appeared briefly a century ago. Individuals who could bond with multiple alphas, creating pack structures stronger than anything seen before. But they were feared, hunted. The last known catalyst was eliminated 70 years ago. Or so we thought. You're insane. Am I? Explain 5 alphas otherwise. Explain why your scent drives them mad despite your beta biology. She pulled out a syringe filled with amber liquid. This will help us confirm it. A simple test of your blood's bonding properties. Don't touch me. The door exploded inward. Marcus burst through first, eyes wild and feral. Blood stained his knuckles. Behind him came Daniel, Kai, James, and Eli, all radiating lethal intent. The air crackled with alpha aggression so thick it was suffocating. Step away from them, Marcus growled, voice barely human. Dr. Chen smiled, infuriatingly calm. Ah, the bonded alphas. Right on schedule. Tell me, how did you find this facility? It's supposed to be untraceable. Your mistake was thinking we wouldn't work together. Daniel's usual polish was gone, replaced by cold fury. When our mate disappeared, our priorities aligned. The possessive term should have angered me. Instead, warmth bloomed in my chest even through the fear. Kai had a knife out, spinning it casually. Gonna be real simple, Doc. You let them go or we paint these walls with you. Fascinating, Dr. Chen observed. You're cooperating despite your territorial instincts. The catalyst bond is even stronger than records indicated. She pressed a button on her tablet. Gas hissed from ceiling vents. No! James lunged forward, but the sedative was fast-acting. All 5 alphas stumbled, fighting to stay conscious. Marcus made it 3 steps toward me before collapsing. The others followed, their bodies hitting the floor like felled trees. Tears streamed down my face. What did you do? Leveled the playing field. Dr. Chen checked their pulses professionally. They'll wake in a few hours. By then, I'll have my answers about what you are. She approached with the syringe again. Desperation gave me strength. I yanked at my restraints, and something strange happened. Heat exploded through my body, emanating from my chest. The leather straps smoked and snapped. Dr. Chen stumbled backward, eyes wide. Impossible. You're manifesting. I didn't wait to hear the rest. I ran to Marcus, shaking him. Wake up, please. The heat inside me intensified, and I felt something flow from my hands into him. His eyes snapped open, clear and alert despite the sedative. What? He saw my terrified face and understood instantly. He surged to his feet, lifting me behind him as he faced Dr. Chen. I touched each alpha in turn, that strange heat flowing through me. They woke as if the gas had never affected them, rising with synchronized grace that spoke of a deeper connection forming between us all. The bond allows shared resistance, Dr. Chen breathed, frantically typing notes. The catalyst can transfer immunity through touch. Remarkable. Enough, James said coldly. For the first time, the gentle doctor looked dangerous. You've terrorized someone under my protection. That ends now. What happened next was a blur. Alarms blared. Security rushed in, but 5 coordinated alphas moved like a single organism. Daniel disabled the facility's systems with his phone. Eli found the exit routes with uncanny intuition. Kai fought with vicious efficiency. Marcus shielded me with his body. James administered sedatives to anyone who got too close. We escaped into the night, police sirens wailing in the distance. Someone, probably Daniel, had called the authorities. In the safety of Marcus's apartment, I finally collapsed. The alphas surrounded me, their presence somehow comforting rather than suffocating now. A catalyst, Eli whispered, wonder in his voice. It explains everything. It explains nothing, I choked out. My whole life is a lie. I don't even know who I am. You're ours, Kai said fiercely. That's all that matters. But Daniel's expression was troubled. If Dr. Chen knew about you, others might too. Catalysts were hunted for a reason. If word spreads about what you are. He didn't need to finish. I understood. My ordinary beta life wasn't just shattered. It had never existed at all. And now, I had to decide who I could trust with the truth of what I'd become. The news broke 3 days later. Rare catalyst individual discovered. Government seeks custody for protection. My face was everywhere. News channels, social media, protests forming outside government buildings. Some called me a miracle. Others called me a threat. The debate raged. Should I be protected, studied, or controlled? I watched the coverage from Daniel's penthouse, the safest location we could find. All 5 alphas had moved in, creating a fortress of protection around me. But the walls felt like a prison. We need to disappear, Marcus said, studying security feeds. I have contacts overseas. New identities. Running isn't living, Eli countered, sketching anxiously. She deserves better than hiding. She deserves safety, James insisted. The government won't stop until they have her. Kai paced like a caged animal. Then we fight. Anyone who tries to take her goes through us. All of you stop. My voice cut through the argument. 5 pairs of eyes turned to me. You're talking about my life like I'm not here. Like I don't get a choice. Daniel approached carefully as if I might bolt. We're trying to protect you. By deciding everything for me? Anger bubbled up, hot and fierce. Dr. Chen was right about one thing. You are tearing me apart. Not physically, but you're suffocating me with this protection. I can't breathe. Marcus flinched like I'd struck him. We're bonded to you. Our instincts. Your instincts don't own me. The heat from before returned, radiating from my chest. The alphas stepped back involuntarily, and I saw it clearly, the power I held over them. The bond worked both ways. I didn't ask to be a catalyst. I didn't ask for 5 fated mates. But this is my life, and I will decide what happens next. Silence fell, heavy and charged. What do you want? Eli asked quietly. The question pierced through my anger. What did I want? I looked at each of them. Daniel, whose brilliant mind had hacked government databases to find my sealed records. Marcus, who'd taken a bullet for me during our escape. James, who'd held me through panic attacks as my world crumbled. Kai, whose wild energy reminded me to feel alive. Eli, who saw beauty in me even when I felt broken. I didn't want to lose them. But I couldn't keep living like this. I want the truth about where I came from, I said firmly. Dr. Chen found my adoption records. I need to know who I really am before I can decide anything else. Daniel pulled up encrypted files on his tablet. I retrieved these from Genesis Research before we destroyed their servers. Your birth records, sealed by someone with serious government connections. He hesitated. Are you sure you want to know? My hands trembled, but I nodded. The file opened. My birth certificate listed my mother as Subject 12. No name, just a designation. The father was listed as unknown. But there were medical notes, experiment logs, genetic modification records. Oh God, James breathed, reading over my shoulder. You weren't born naturally. You were created. The room spun. What? A government project from 28 years ago, Daniel continued, voice strained. Attempting to recreate catalyst genetics artificially. To build super soldiers who could command alpha packs. The project was shut down, all subjects supposedly terminated. But someone smuggled you out. Arranged your adoption. Gave you a false beta classification to hide what you were. I couldn't process it. I wasn't just rare, I was manufactured. Built in a lab like a weapon. Who? My voice broke. Who saved me? Daniel scrolled further, then stopped. A photo appeared, a young scientist with kind eyes. My adoptive mother. She worked on the project, he said gently. Dr. Sarah Mitchell. When she realized what they planned to do with the Catalyst children, she falsified records, made you appear stillborn. She and her husband took you, raised you as their own. Tears blurred my vision. My parents had sacrificed everything to give me a normal life. They died protecting a secret they never told me. They knew the whole time. They loved you, Marcus said gruffly. That's what matters. But it did matter. Understanding where I came from, why I existed, it changed everything. I wasn't a mistake or an anomaly. I was someone's desperate hope for something better. A knock at the door shattered the moment. Everyone tensed. Marcus checked the camera and swore. Government agents. Whole tactical team. Let me handle this, I said, standing on shaking legs. Absolutely not. All 5 alphas said simultaneously. I smiled despite everything. Trust me. Please. They didn't want to. Every instinct screamed at them to fight, to protect, to never let me face danger. But slowly, reluctantly, they stepped aside. The bond between us hummed with their anxiety and my determination. I opened the door. Agent Morrison stood there, a woman in her 50s with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense expression. Behind her, armed agents waited. We need you to come with us. For your protection. No, I said clearly. I'm not a weapon to be locked away. I'm not government property. I'm a person and I choose to stay here. You don't understand the danger. I understand perfectly. The heat inside me built and I let it show. My eyes glowed. I could see the reflection in her surprised face. I'm a catalyst. I could bond with every alpha in your unit right now if I wanted. Create an army loyal only to me. Is that what you're afraid of? Her hand moved to her weapon. But I won't, I continued, because that's not who I choose to be. My parents died to give me a choice. I'm not wasting their sacrifice by becoming what you fear. Agent Morrison studied me for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, she lowered her hand and stepped back. You have 48 hours to prove you're not a threat. After that, we'll be watching. Closely. The door closed. My knees gave out, but Marcus caught me. All 5 alphas surrounded me, their presence a wall of strength. That was either very brave or very stupid, Kai muttered, but his voice held admiration. Probably both, I admitted, then looked at each of them. I can't promise this will work. A catalyst with 5 bonded alphas. There's no manual for this. But if you're willing to let me lead, to trust my choices even when your instincts scream otherwise, then maybe we can figure it out together. Together, Daniel agreed. As a pack, James added. Your pack, Eli said, smiling. Always, Marcus rumbled. Kai just grinned. This is gonna be one hell of a ride. They were right. My life would never be simple. There would be challenges, dangers, people who feared what I represented. But looking at my 5 alphas, my chosen pack, I felt something I hadn't felt since this chaos began. I wasn't just a beta or a catalyst or a government experiment. I was someone who chose love over fear, trust over control, and my own path over destiny. And that choice made all the difference.